In this video, I want to work on the cart. So after finishing this lesson, whenever you go inside the food page and click on this add to cart, that food will be added to the cart page and you can come back and add another food as much as you want. You can change the quantity of the food, and whenever you do that, the price of the cart item and the total count and the total price will change. And we also are going to change this badge to match the total count of the cart. Follow this lesson if you like to know how to do it. The first thing that we want to do on this lesson is creating the CartPage component and its CSS. Let's do it. Inside the code, right click on the pages folder and create a new folder with the name of cart. Then right click on it and create a new file with the name of CartPage.js. Then right click on it again and create another file with the name of CartPage.module.css. Come back to the CartPage.js and write RFC for creating the functional component, then import the classes from the CSS file. Here we go. We successfully created the CartPage component and its CSS file. Now is the time for adding its route to the routes. Let's do it. Open the app routes.js, duplicate the last route, then clear everything and just /cart. Then instead of the food page, write cart page. And it should be imported from the pages /cart page. Here we go. Now if we go to the browser and click on this link that we created, we should see the cart page. It means we successfully added the cart page to the routes. Now is the time for adding the useCart hook. I want to handle all the states of the cart page inside the useCart hook. It's very simple to create. Let's do it. Here inside the code, right click on the src folder and create a new folder with the name of hooks. Then right click on it and create a new file with the name of useCart.js. Let's close the Explorer, then close the app routes. We don't need it anymore. Here we want to create the useCart hook. A hook is simply a functional component that provides value of a specific context for its children. Let's start by creating the functional component. Write RFC and press enter just like any other components. Change its name to cart provider. Then save it. It provides the value of a context, so we need to create a context. The context that I want to create is cart context. So write const cart context equal to. For creating the context, you need to use create context function from React. I want to give it a null value as the default value. This context should provide a value. For this purpose, there is a provider component inside the context. So instead of returning this div, we return cart context.provider with the value of currently just an empty object, then closing it. I said it provides value for its children, so we need the children as input. So put curly braces and write children and put that children inside curly braces here. As the value of cart context provider, I want to return the cart and all of its function. Let's start by adding the states of the cart. The first state is cart items. And set cart items that is equal to use state. The second value is total price of the cart. Set total price equal to use state. And the third one is total count. Set total count equal to use state. Now I want to give these three states a default value. Normally their default value should be an empty array 0, 0, but I want to give them a meaningful sample data for creating the cart page. For creating the items, I like to use the sample foods that I have inside the data.js. We're going to remove it in the end of this video, but for having some items inside the cart, I like to use them to slice it from item 1 to 4 and map these foods into cart item object that has the food and the quantity that is 1 by default and a price that is the price of the food by default. So we just simply use the sample foods from the data.js, slice 3 items from 1 to 4 and map these foods into an object that has the food and the quantity that is 1 by default. So we just simply use the sample foods from the data.js, slice 3 items from 1 to 4 and map these foods into an object that has the food and the quantity that is 1 by default. So we just simply use the sample foods from the data.js, slice 3 items from 1 to 4 and map these foods into an object that has the food, quantity, and the price of the cart item that is simply the multiplication between the price and the quantity. And since the quantity is 1, so the price of the cart item will be equal to the price of the food. For the total price, I just want to put a random number, for example 40. We're going to fix them later. And as the total count, I want to set it to 3. Now that we have these 3 states, I want to use all of them inside the value of the cart context provider as the cart object. Write cart colon, write items colon cart items. I want to expose the cart items with the value of cart.items, not cart.cart items. So I gave it items name. And now let's pass the total price and total count here. So we have the cart context provider that provides the cart value for its children. Now for getting this value inside its children, we need to use useContext by passing the cart context. For making it simpler, we export a function from this file with the name of useCart for using the cart context. So write export const useCart equal to a function that returns useContext with this cart context that we defined at the top using create context. And this is pretty much it. Now we just need to set this cart provider as the parent of where we want to use this useCart. I want this useCart to be accessible everywhere. So I go to the index.js and use it as the parent of the app, root of our project. Now we can go to the cart page and we can write const curly braces cart equal to useCart from the hooks. Now I want to make sure that we really have the cart. I put the curly braces here with the value of cart.items.length. Now if we go to browser, we'll see these 3 here, means our hooks works pretty well. Here we go. We created the useCart, we added the cart provider to the index, and we initialized it with sample foods. Now I want to work on the JSX, the return part of our CartPage component, and I want to add a title component. Let's do it. Here, let's remove this cart items length and remove this div. Let's add an empty template tag. Here at its first line, I want to add the title component to use it as the title of the cart page because I want to make all the pages to have similar title. So go to the Explorer. Scroll down, find the components, right click on it and create a new folder with the name of title. Then right click on it and create a new file with the name of title.js. And again, right click on it and create a new file with the name of title.module.css. Now let's go inside the title.js and write RFC for creating a new functional component. Close the Explorer. This title needs 3 input properties. The first one is the title itself, the text of the title. The second one is font size. And the third one is margin. Now here, instead of the div, I want to return an h1, a heading 1. And for its style, I want to use this font size and this margin. And for its color, I want to use hashtag 616161. And for its text, I'm going to use the title property. It's pretty simple, but since we have a component for the title, anytime we want to change its style, we can come to this point and change all the titles across the project in one place. Now let's get back to the cart page and write title coming from the components. Set its title to cart page string, its margin to 1.5 rem. From the top, 0 from the right, 0 from the bottom, and 2.5 rem from the left. Then close the title tag. I want to keep the font size property as undefined, so it will be the default font size of the HTML that we set it to 18 pixels. On the next line, I want to put the curly braces and check if this cart that's coming from the useCart hook has value and cart.items.length is bigger than 0. Then we need to show the content of the cart page inside a dev. So write dev with the class name of classes.container. Inside it, put a UL with the class name of classes.list. Inside this UL, we want to show all the cart items. So we're going to write cart.items.map, and we are going to map every single cart item to an li with the key of item.food.id, and inside the li I want to put a div, and inside this div I want to show the food image. So write img src equal to backtick slash foods folder slash foods slash dollar curly braces item.food.image url, and set its alternative text to item.food.name. Then close the image and save it. Now if we go to the browser, we'll see the food images that we set from the sample foods inside the cart items, those 3 foods. Here we also need to show the name of the food, a select box for selecting the quantity of the food. Let's do it. Here after the image div, add another div, and inside it add a link from the React Router DOM to the food page. So put backtick slash food slash dollar curly braces item.food.id with the text of item.food.name. Now if we go to the browser, we'll see the food name here, and if we click on it, we'll be moved to the food page. Let's get back and continue adding a select box for selecting the quantity of the food. Scroll down. Here add another div, inside it add a select with the value of item.quantity. Let's add 10 option here, from 1 to 10. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. I like to make it 10. You can make it 4, 5, or anything. Okay, our select box is ready. Let's go to the browser, and we have it here. Now let's add the price of the food. Back to the code, scroll down. After the select box div, add another div, and inside it, let's add the price component and set its price equal to item.price, and close it. Scroll down. So we should have the price here. Now I want to add a button for removing item from the cart item. So add another div, inside it add a button with the class name of classes.remove underline button. Set its text to remove. So we need to have this button here. Now outside of this UL, I want to add another div for this side that shows the total items and a link for proceeding to the checkout page. So add a div with a class name of classes.checkout. Add another div inside it. This div are going to keep all the total items, the total count and the total price. So add a div with the class name of classes foods underline count, and for its text let's write cart.totalCount. Let's add another div with the class name of classes.total underline price. Here once again I want to use my price component with the price of cart.totalPrice. Then close it. Then outside of this div I want to add a link from React Router DOM that goes to checkout page with the text of proceed to checkout. In future, we are going to create this checkout page, but currently it does nothing. Here we go. Let's go to the browser. As you can see, at the bottom, we have total count that we set it to 3 inside the useCart hook, total price that we set it to 40, and this link that shows the proceed to checkout text. Now let's go to the CSS and make this beautiful. Close this index.js, title.module.css, and close this title.js. Let's jump into the CartPage.module.css. Just like any other components, let's start with the container. Set its display to flex, its flex wrap to wrap, set its align items to flex start, so it will stick to the top vertically, set its margin to 1.5 rem, and its margin top to 0.5 rem. So margins from all sides will be 1.5 except margin top that will be half a rem. Let's check out the browser. As you can see, we have this total part now on the right side because we set the display to flex. Now I want to work on this list and make it beautiful. Let's do it. Right, dot list for selecting a list class, set its display to flex, set its flex direction to column from top to bottom, flex grow to 3 and its flex shrink to 0, justify content to space evenly, set its border to 1 pixel solid with this color FFBBB, border radius 1 rem, list style type to none for removing that bullet from the UL, margin half a rem, and padding to 0 because by default the UL has a padding. Now let's work on the list items. This list is the UL, so we can write list li for selecting all the LIs inside the list, set their displays to flex, justify content to space around, set its align items to center, flex wrap to wrap, and border bottom to 1 pixel solid hashtag E4E or E4. Now let's check the browser. As you can see, now we are seeing every single item inside the cart like a straight line. But here, if you scroll down, you'll see that the last item here has a border bottom that is outside of this box border. Let's remove it. Here, scroll down and write dot list li colon last child and set its border to none. Now, if you go here, we'll not see it anymore. Now I want to make this image small, rounded, and beautiful. Let's do it. Right, dot list img image inside the list items. Set its width to 5 rem, height 5 rem 2, and set its border radius to 100 rem, very big number to make it completely rounded, and set its object fit to cover so it will not lose its aspect ratio. As you can see, it's much more beautiful now. Now, if we go to the code and check the cart page, we'll see for every single item inside the li, we have a div. Now here inside the CSS, I want to select them and give them padding of 1 rem from every side. So write dot list li div, all right, padding 1 rem. So now if we check out the browser, we'll see them more beautiful. Now I want to give flex bases to all the items here except the images to make them more neat. Let's go to the code. We're at the bottom, right? Dot list li div not first child. So this is a select just like this one, but it will not select the first div. It is the image div. Let's set its flex bases 18%. Let's check the browser. As you can see, they are more neat. All the items are under each other, just like a column. Now I want to work on this select box. List li select, set its width to 3 rem, outline to none, border to none, its border bottom to 1 pixel, solid and light gray. Font size 1.1 rem, font weight very lightweight 100. Let's check it out. Here we go. We just have a small border bottom like this. That is, in my opinion, more pretty. Now let's work on this remove button. Right, that list, that remove button, set its border radius 1 rem, border to none, adding to 0.5 rem, half rem. Its color should be hashtag E72929. Its opacity could be 70%. And it shouldn't have any outline. So we set the outline to none. Let's check out the browser. As you can see, we have this beautiful button. Now let's make it interactive. So when we hover our mouse over it, it will be like a pointer shape. Right, that list, remove button, hover, set its opacity to 1. So it's going to have 100% opacity and the cursor of pointer. Let's check the browser. Here we go. We have these remove buttons. Now it's the time working on the checkout part. So let's start with the checkout class. That is the container of this part. So scroll down, right, checkout, and set its display to flex, flex direction to column from top to bottom, and justify content to space between. Let it align items to center, Set its flex grow to 1 and flex shrink to 3. Height 20 rem. Border 1 pixel. Solid. Hashtag FFBBBB. Border radius of 1 rem. Padding of half a rem. And margin of rem 2. Now let's check the browser, and we have this beautiful box here that their items will be shown from top to bottom. Now select the first div that is the parent of these two fields and give it some styles. Scroll down, right, checkout, angle bracket, div. So it will select the first div that is the only div inside the checkout class. Set its font size to 1.4 rem, margin of 1 rem, flex grow of 3, display, flex direction, column from top to bottom, and justify content, center. So the items inside this div will be centered vertically, and set the align items to flex start. Now, if we go to the browser, we'll see that we have these items on the middle. Now I want to add a little bit of margin between these two, and I want to add a text of content and price here for these two using pseudo elements. Let's do it. Write that checkout, food underline count, set its margin button to 1.5 rem. This is for the space. Now for the text, let's use checkout, foods underline count, colon before pseudo element, write content of count, colon space, and set the color to gray. Now let's do the same for the total price, write checkout, total underline price, colon before, set its content to price, space, the color of gray. Let's see it inside the browser. I think it doesn't have enough margin bottom. Let's check. Oh man, yeah, I forgot to put the C here. I had a typo, as you can see. Now it's okay. And we have these two texts here. Now let's work on this proceed to checkout link. Scroll down. Let's write .checkout A. It's an A tag. I told you link will be converted into A tag. Set its padding to 1 rem. Set its color to white. Background, hashtag E72929. Give it a display of block, width of 99%, border radius of 1 rem, text align of center, and set its justify self to center. Now for its hover effect, I want to set its opacity to 0.8. I want to set its cursor to pointer to make it look interactive. Let's go to the browser. As you can see, we have this proceed to checkout button like this. Okay, the look of the cart page is completely ready, but it has no behavior. Let's check where we are. We just added the title component, we added the JSX and the CSS, but we are not finished with the useCart hook. Here we want to update the useCart hook. I want to start from the easiest one, that is removing item from the cart. Let's go to the code, open the useCart. Here before the return, write const remove from cart equal to a function that gets food ID as input. Then create a new filtered version of the items that doesn't have this specific food ID. So write const filtered cart items equal to cart items.filter that for each item, its item.food.id is not equal to food ID. So we're just filtering the cart items and returning everything except this food ID. So in fact, we are removing this food ID from the new filtered items. Now we just need to set this into the cart items. So write set cart items and pass the filtered cart items in it. Now, first of all, we need to pass this function as value to the cart context provider. So after the cart, write remove from cart. Then save it. So we are passing this function to its children. Now we can use to the cart page. And here at the top, after the cart, we can write remove from cart. So now we should have access to this function. Let's put it on the remove button inside the list items of the cart. So put onClick here. That's equal to a function that calls remove from cart function with the item.food.id. So it will pass the food ID to this function for removing. Now, if we go to the browser and click on it, we'll see that the item will be removed whenever we click on this remove button. But now if we refresh the page, they all come back because we set their initial value to some random values from the sample food. Now the next functionality that I want to add is changing the quantity of the food. So whenever we change the quantity, this value should change and the price should change too. So let's go to the code, open the useCart and create another function here with the name of const ChangeQuantity. That is equal to a function that gets cart item as input along with the new quantity. And inside this function, first of all, we write const food equal to cart item. Get the food from the cart item. Then we need to create a new cart item. I call it const changed cart item. That is an object that has previous values of the cart item. We spread the cart item here. We set its quantity to new quantity coming inside this function. And we set its price to food.price multiplied by new quantity. So as we increase the quantity, the price of the item will be increased too. Now we just need to replace this with the old cart item. For doing that, I want to call set cart items. Inside it, I want to write cart items, the previous cart items, and then I want to map every single of previous items and check if their food.id is equal to this food.id. So we pass this changed cart item, otherwise keep the previous item. Okay, I have a typo here. This I should be uppercase. Here we go. Now we need to use this ChangeQuantity function. So copy it and inside the CartPage, put a comma and paste it here. Don't forget to put it here after the remove from cart for the cart context provider once again. So now we have the ChangeQuantity and we need to use it inside the select box. So add onChange event here, make it equal to a new handler that calls the ChangeQuantity with the current item. We also need these values. For getting these values, instead of parentheses here, we need to put E for getting the event, and for getting the values, we need to use e.target.value. But this will pass it as a string. For converting it into a number, we just need to write number and put the string number inside it, so it will automatically parse it into JavaScript number. Now, if we go to the browser and change the quantity, we'll see that it changes the price of that specific food. Here we go. As you can see, it works really well. So we successfully created the remove from cart and change quantity. Now, before working on the add to cart function, I want to work on the total count and total price, because whenever you change the quantity of an item or when you remove an item, the total count and the total price should change. For doing this, we need to go to the useCart. Then here at the top, under the states, I want to add a use effect from the React that has the cart items as its dependencies. So whenever we change the cart items, for example, removing the item, changing the quantity, or adding a new item, this use effect will be called. Here inside it, I want to set the total price state and the total count. For doing that, I like to create a helper function. Let's write const sum. It gets the items as input. These items are not cart items. These items are a list of price or quantity. Then it returns items.reduce that has an handler with previous value and current value that returns previous value plus current value with the initial value of 0. This reduce function is part of JavaScript, and it will run this function for every single item. For example, if we have a list of prices, it starts from the first price, and that first price will be the current value, and the previous value for the first time will be 0, the initial value. So they will be summed together, and the end result will be the sum of all items, whether it is price or count, any numbers. This function will sum them together. Now let's use this function inside the use effect. The first line, I like to create a local constant with the name of TotalPrice that is equal to sum of cart items dot map for each item return item dot price. So it will sum all the prices together. We need exactly the same thing for the total count. Const total count equal to sum cart items dot map for each item. It's cart items. And for each item, we want to return item.quantity. Okay, so we pass an array of quantity to the sum, and we are going to have a total count. Now we just need to set this total price and total count to these two states using set total price and set total count. Set total count, total count. There we go. Now, since we use this total price and total count here inside the cart, and we used it inside the cart page at the bottom, inside the checkout part, total count, total price, it should work. Let's go to the browser and change something. As you can see, we have 511 equal to 7 items and 1052 equal to $107 total price. So it works. Now I want to work on the add to cart functionality. Go to the use cart. Here before the return, add another function with the name of const add to cart equal to a function that gets the food as input. At its first line, it tries to find the cart item with this food ID. So we need to write cart items.find for each item where the item.food.id is equal to food.id. Now, if this cart item has value, it means we already have this food inside the cart. In this case, I don't want to duplicate food. I just want to increase the quantity of that specific cart item. So I check if cart item, it's not null or undefined. We call the ChangeQuantity function with this cart item and cart item that quantity plus 1. So we'll just increase the quantity of that specific cart item. Otherwise, it means we don't have that food inside the cart. We just need to update the set cart items with an array that has the previous cart items. We spread it using a spread operator, 3 dots, and the given food with the quantity of 1 and the price of the food.price. So we just create a new array using the previous items plus the new cart item that we created here. Now, where should we use this add to cart function? We shouldn't use it inside the cart page. We should use it inside the food page. So here we successfully added the add to cart function, but now we need to add it to the food page. So from the Explorer on the pages, food page.js, here at the top, write const add to cart equal to useCart. Now that we have this add to cart function, we can scroll down to the end of this. On the add to cart button, we need to add an on-click event that calls a function with the name of handle add to cart. We didn't create this function yet. Copy its name, scroll up, and here write const, paste the name, create a function. Inside the food page, we have the food state, so we can call add to cart and pass the current food into it. Then also, I like to navigate the user to the cart page whenever the user clicks on add to cart. For navigating the user inside a function, we need to use navigate hook like this. Const navigate equal to use navigate. This useNavigate hook returns a function that we can use it for going to another route. So here, after the add to cart function, call the navigate function with the path of cart. So after adding the item to the cart, it should go to the cart page. Now, if we go to the browser on the home page, for example, if we click on this add to cart, it doesn't go. says that the add to cart is not a function. Let's check this out. Here inside the useCart. Oh, we are not passing this as a value here on the cart context provider. So sorry. After the change quantity, put add to cart. Now, if we go to the browser and click on this, you'll see that this item is added to the cart page. And if you refresh the page, it will be removed because of the initial state. Now that we have the add to cart functionality and we just add it to the food page, I want to work on something that I forgot to put it here, and it is saving to local storage. This cart should be saved inside local storage, because if we don't save it, anytime we refresh the page, we'll lose all the items of the cart. Let's work on it. Go to the useCart.js file. First of all, here at the top, after the cart context, I like to define a constant for the key of the cart inside local storage with the name of cart key as a string of cart. And I like to define an empty state for the cart with the name of empty cart equal to an object with the items of an empty array, total price of 0, and total count of 02. Now here, for setting the initial state, I like to define a constant here, the name of initCart, that gets its value from a function that we didn't create yet, the name of getCart from local storage. It needs to get the cart from the local storage at the initial state. Let's create this function. Its job is very simple. Write function, paste the name of the function. First write to get the JSON string from the local storage. So write const stored cart equal to local storage. Local storage is part of JavaScript. An HTML5 called the get item, and pass the cart key that we defined at the top. Then try to return and check. If the stored cart has value, it means we have already a cart inside the local storage. Then we need to parse it and convert it into JavaScript. Otherwise, we need to return an empty cart because we don't have anything inside local storage. So we need to return an empty cart. Now, if we scroll up, we could be able to use the initCart.items. For the cart items, initCart of .TotalPrice for the total price, and initCart.TotalCount for the total count. Now, if we go to the browser, we'll see nothing because we have nothing inside the local storage. Where should we set something to the local storage? Inside the use effect, because whenever we add something to the cart items, this use effect will be called, and it is the best place setting the cart to the local storage. So here, after the set total count, write local storage.set item that uses the same cart key just like the get item, but it has another parameter that accepts a string. So I want to stringify and convert the cart into JSON string. So I pass an object to it with the items of cart items with the total price and total count. Now, if we go to the browser, inside the home page, go to a food page and click on add to cart and refresh the page, as you can see, we still have it. Here we go. Our cart page is almost ready. Now for the last thing, I want to use the total count inside the header. For this 10 badge that you see here, it's just a static number. It should come from this total count. Let's do it. So here from the Explorer, scroll up, find the header component folder, click on header.js. Here, instead of using the cart like this, I want to use const curly braces cart equal to useCart. I need to use the useCart hook, and we can remove this previous cart. Now, if we go to the browser, we'll see that these two always match together. So if we change this, you can see this is 7 and this is 7 too. And if we go anywhere, we'll see that 7 or any number at the top. Okay, this was about this lesson. You've been watching Code with Nasir, and I hope to see you next time.